So my answer is, it's this verse. It says, perfect love casts out fear. So if you love perfectly, it's talking about probably loving people. If you love them the way Christ loves us, or loved us first by dying for people, then you won't be afraid of them abusing you back. Basically, all sin you can think of is a type of defense mechanism. Like, we're at an Airbnb and the neighbor is two lesbians. They probably heard us. We never introduced ourselves till day 2, and they probably heard us talking about God on day 1 because we were really close next to each other. So when I introduced myself, she was really standoffish. But I showed her like a lot of childish inquiry or childish interest in what is on her mind. Like, she was like totally standoffish and like giving me every cue to turn around and leave. I'm like, hi, this is like a gate, there's like a thing separating us, like a little bamboo divider. I poked my head through it. I'm like, hi, and she's like, hi, and she didn't say anything, she didn't smile or anything, and I think she said, what do you want? I'm like, I just wanted to talk to you. And like, she was shocked by that, and then I kept asking her questions about what's on her mind, like to actually hear what she's thinking and feeling, which is something I've never cared to do in my whole life until like a week and a half ago. And then 3 minutes in, she's with another woman here, and she told me she traveled. She's not here right now. She told me she traveled like with her friend, and I said, oh, like, did she go there with you also? And she said, no, we're together. And then she looked at me to see if I would like look away or be angry or like offended or like annoyed that she's together with a woman. But I never looked away. I was not offended and was not even in my position to judge her. That's how I felt for once. And she was pretty shocked by that, I think. I'm just using that as an example because that happened 2 days ago. I'm against homosexuality because it destroys family, and if everyone was that, there would be no people left because everyone would die. There'd be no reproduction.
Right.
So it's wrong.
Right.
And even, I mean, I could just, it's kind of different subject, but even if it was like a good thing that I wanted to do, homosexuality, it's not fair because if everyone does it, no, there would be no children anymore. So it's wrong in every way you look at it. But I didn't take that mentality when I was speaking to her. I viewed her as a human being, like myself. We've all been sinned against a billion times. Obviously, the whole world let us down. All the people in it. Adam let them down that came after him, and they let us down, and then we probably will let other people down, maybe, sometimes. So that's helped me to choose a new path, because Nathan mentioned the divide and conquer. Ever since I've been into the Bible and believe in it so much, I've really chosen to look down on everyone else for the last 7 years, thinking that it was right of me to do. So now I know the truth and I'm keeping the laws of God and I gave up my sin. So it's better for me to escape all these people, kind of like you said. That's been my thought for the last 8 years, every day, until 2 weeks ago. I don't remember what it was, but I made a choice to try to view people with compassion for once. It took me 3 days to get kind of good at it. The first day I knew if I even look at someone, like going on a bike ride, and I looked down, when I passed people, I looked down 5 out of 6 times. Only when I felt strong enough to actually pull it off did I look at someone and try to actually have love in my eyes towards them. And then it made me really afraid of myself for that day and the next day and the next day, because I knew I'm not even capable of actually doing this well. But I got a little better at it each day. Now I view it as an extreme sport, to kind of put it in an immature way. It's really hard to look at people with love, but it makes me feel way better, because Nathan and I were talking about some government people in government, and on the news and stuff, what's the Ellen DeGeneres?
Right.
like this crazy
This lesbian.
this lady, and I called her these names and stuff. And like when Nathan came back out of the house, I told him we probably shouldn't say that stuff about people because I felt bad afterwards. And she's like the worst of the worst in Satan's army, and I still felt bad afterwards. So that's where I'm at right now with like I forgot what you asked me, but that's what I'm working on right now.
Right. It's funny. I got the same problem, train of thought. But yeah, I asked about how you show love, compassion, back.
Yeah, like to the roommate, I just didn't judge her at all. The Bible tells us how to judge from right and wrong, so I knew it was wrong, but I didn't look down on her. That's how I showed her love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I tried to really be in the moment, like a child, because Christ says we have to be like children or we can't be saved. It's in Matthew 18. And there's a couple other things he said that I've paid attention to more than ever since like 2 weeks ago. And I realized this is probably what he was teaching. This type of compassion on people.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said... I'm sorry, go ahead.
The way it's being taught today, though, is really perverse. Like, they tell you, love everyone. I've never seen them really do it, though. And what comes with it is getting rid of all of God's laws. So saying there's no standard. That's not love.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the correct teachings of the Bible either. So I've stayed away from that. But now I'm taking a second look and realizing there's a way to do both at once.
Mm-hmm.
Because Paul, in his letters, he says, be at peace as much as is possible with all people. And greet all people, like say hello to all people. And I think a few other things, like be kind to all people.
Peaceable among all men.
Peaceable among all men. I never did that. I lived on these islands for 2 years, and I try to never even look around at people. I'll just look at the ground like this everywhere I go. I won't greet anyone until 2 weeks ago. So that's how I've been, but I'm changing now. Feels a lot better.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because it's good to also be engaged like with people. I don't mean like, hey, how are you? Like start conversation, but I mean to not just be shut off just by yourself and not speak with anybody and just be mute, because that's a hard battle. So I understand. Like I want to be around people too, but I know.
But actually, the hey, how are you doing? That's pretty good. That's like what I meant, like the extreme sport. Like to me, that's like extremely hard to do. When I do it now, I don't just say the words. I try to really feel the words, like really feel interested in what I'm asking them. Even though I can see them like living in complete sin, and I still want to like get to the inside of them. It's very different for me.
Intent.
Understood.
Yeah, the intent. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a video Mordecai shared a while ago, and I watched a different one today. But this Japanese researcher, he basically did a study on water we'll share it in the chat, or you can look it up. Just look up water molecule.
I've seen that one.
Yeah. So with the intent, the intent behind the word spoken changes the whole reality. That's what we're realizing.
Right.
Working on.
That's true. The frequency, the vibration, Nikola Tesla stuff, kind of like work. But yeah, I'm very into that. That's true. That's like very true. Frequency, energy, and vibration. Energy, frequency, vibration.
And also, we went to the park yesterday, and we saw this exercise group. A bunch of women in their 50s, like a man in his 30s or 40s. And I told Nathan I'd like to be part of that. Maybe not that exact one, but something like that. Like to be around people older than me, like the next generation. Because today, every generation is distrustful of the other ones. Like young people hate old people, and old people hate, it's just crazy. It's not right. We're supposed to be slotted in between the older and younger and like play our role and stuff. And it's totally gone from the world today. It's crazy. It's so unnatural, and it's bad for our soul.
Right.
Basically, the takeaway for me this is how I got started, is I realized if I don't learn to be as innocent as a child, I won't be saved. So I'm trying to figure out everything I can to do that.
That was my question, actually. I've lost my train of thought. You brought me back. Was the Bible, you said that the Bible mentions that we should kind of be like children, act like children? Not like acting,
Innocent.
but have like the mentality-wise of children?
Yeah, like
Curiosity?
I asked Nathan what he would think people would be like if there was no evil spirits on earth. And he said they would all be as if they were 8 years old. And as soon as if they sinned, they would feel really regretful and stop immediately. They would regret their behavior. But that's not how it happens on earth today, and that's because of evil spirits. There's a channel I have for you to watch. His name is Kevin L space A space Ewing, Ewing. I'll send it to you. He speaks about spirits. And that's what Christ said in Matthew 18, verse 3, is that unless you become as a little child, you will never inherit salvation. And then he speaks of how those that influence the little ones to sin, it would be better for those people, those adults, to kill themselves. So the way I practice that teaching of Christ right now is I have tattoos, and I cover them up like almost every time I'm in public, even though they're like what I would call biblical tattoos. That's all they are, is like Bible stuff and like different stuff. But I feel if I let little children see that, then I'm going to influence them that it's normal to get tattoos. But it's not.
Understood.
So I don't want to influence them. Same with any other thing like smoking or,
drunkenness,
or yelling at your mother in public. Like, I don't know. Yep. Stuff like that. If I do any of that, I'm really guilty.
The influence part is very strong on kids because that's when you need to influence the most, when they're most vulnerable. That's what people do, which is crazy. But yeah. Yeah, that's why that's one of the things is school is I don't think they're even in school. They're just at a government facility getting pumped by propaganda.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be far-fetched to think that one day they would try to outlaw having children and make it so all children are born in a lab or in like a facility. And they would probably say that parents are almost always abusive. That's probably the goal for the world. They just want to make everything totally
inorganic.
Yeah, inorganic, manufactured, fake, lifeless.
Right. Well, it's kind of interesting. I feel like that's what they want for the majority of people, but the elites, not them. They can go naturally, live naturally how they're supposed to live. That's how I feel like they're trying to do. They're trying to manipulate all the masses to live non-organically, like you're saying, and then they up top live the way that they should live and have a great life and just live the way they're supposed to live. I think they're just trying to I feel like they're throwing us off the whole thing.
I believe that the people in power today are not really real people. I believe they're hybrids, half angels and half humans. I believe they're already condemned by God. Basically, they are the rulers of the earth, and they're allowed to rule earth because Adam and Eve allowed them to be misled by them. Adam allowed himself to be misled by the fallen angels, and they've been ruling the earth since before Adam was even born. And so once Adam agreed to sin, him and his offspring became their subjects until Christ takes the world back for himself and his people. So
interesting.
So the people that rule the world, their lives are not really normal at all. A lot of them are I don't know, everything you could think of, like cloned, and they drink blood, and
transhuman.
Some of them are like literally angels, I think. Like they don't even die. Just the craziest stuff. But the takeaway is that their main goal is for us to live in sin. Because if they can get us all to live in sin, they gain a lot of power from that in many ways. It's hard to explain in 1 minute, but basically that's their whole goal. It's for us to sin. Because Satan's rebellion, it never ended. It's living on through people's rebellion. He's allowed to lead people into sin until he's judged, and then everyone that followed him is judged as well with him. It's an energetic thing. It's like when you sin, it changes what you are. So everyone that's changed into Satan basically is going to be judged with Satan.
Gotcha.
1 John 3:8 says those that sin belong to Satan. So we have to all stop sinning.
That's one of my biggest wishes in what I do when I go to sleep, before I fall asleep, is asking God to eliminate those thoughts from my head. Just take it away. Delete it. Like, delete that part.
Me too.
Literally. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's so controlling, because it's so controlling. Like,
that's our whole war in this life. To walk in the spirit, not in the flesh.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Paul talks about that in Romans 8. Verse 6-8, he says, if you walk in the flesh, you can't please God. If you walk in the spirit, you can please God, basically. And then he says, if you walk in the spirit, when you die, you'll receive a spiritual body, like an angel, on Judgment Day, the resurrection. But if you walk in the flesh, and you die in the flesh, you'll receive a new body, but it won't be like an angel. It'll be worse than a human. It'll be like a zombie. It's kind of described like a horrible-looking body, and it goes down to hellfire. So like what you are inside will manifest outwardly one day. There's actually a lot of scriptures that say that word for word.
Interesting.
Kind of like what you said about how you view your body right now. That's how we all are, literally. Like we're just in a suit, but there's new suits coming. Glorified ones or debased ones.
There's a thing like with the money thing. To be at peace is like, if I'm living, like I despise money, because it just I feel like it's such a controlling thing. But there's like two parts to this. One is, if I have to live in the system, then I would like tons of money so I can focus on the things I need to do and not worry about the money issue ever again, to eliminate it. Meaning, if I gain a lot of it, I eliminate the need to ever think about it, or don't ever give it to me and don't let me have it and let me live in the middle of nowhere where I don't need it. It's like this double battle. This is where I'm battling all the time.
Choosing one of those extremes.
Well, it's so it eliminates my need to have the money. It's like either I don't have it and I eliminated it, or give me a lot of it so I never need it again, and I can focus on what I need to focus on.
It sounds like you realize that there's a spirit behind money. Once people start wanting the money, they want more and more until they die. It's a spirit behind it. So maybe you kind of feel that without knowing it, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe you don't have direct knowledge of it, but it sounds like you realize there's a danger there.
Interesting. Danger. What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Like, you sound like you want one of either of the two extremes, to have lots of money or have no money, because you don't want to start chasing money.
Right. I'm trying to eliminate the need for money, to be able to live my life comfortably and do what I need to do in this world. Right. Because it's either I work for the money and it controls me.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people, they start to value money as more than they should and identify with it, and then that allows the spirit of money to rule them.
Right, and I don't want the rule, and that's the thing. So if you gain way more than you need, so it controls you, then you eliminated the need for it, and it doesn't control you no more. If that makes sense.
Not always, not for most people. Very hard. You have to watch your thoughts daily. Because once you start chasing the money, you're actually sinning. Because you're not supposed to, how does the scripture say it? The love of money. You're not supposed to love money. Once you start loving money, that's a sin. Every sin has an evil spirit that seeks to influence humans to do that sin. Like using frequency. Like spirits are like radio waves in the airwaves, it's called. In Ephesians
Right.
chapter 2, it tells you Satan is the prince of the airwaves, and he's ruling over the people that are living in sin. It's like they're hooked to that frequency that needs to be broken by
Okay.
praying and fasting, usually.
Okay. So
Clean
if I
themselves out.
don't have a love for the money, but I'm gaining money,
That's fine.
let's say that's fine.
A trick
Okay.
I use is, like, lately I've been spending a lot of money. I had like 15K, but I spent like all of it. And when I was making money 3 years ago, before I left to come here, I went from a little money to a lot doing my business. I made 70K, but then I thought this whole thing is the mark of the beast agenda, so I sold my whole inventory for 34K, less than half.
Mhm.
And
Right.
that already like changed my perspective, because when I was making the money, I never spent any of it on myself. I never ate out or anything. I just wanted more and more and more, and that probably would have never ended. So one of the tricks I'm using now is spending the money, like on useful things. Like right now, I spent most of my money on my computer that I'm buying and new recording equipment and stuff like that. And a lot of people that are rich, they have trouble ever spending it. Also, I'm giving a lot away, tithing and doing alms and stuff. Like that helps me to not associate with the money.
Understood.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting point of view. I like that. Spending and getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Hopefully for something
Very
wise, or to help someone poor. Because actually the laws in the Bible, like most of the things that tells you to do in the Bible are actually laws. When you do those things, you activate stuff in this world, in this realm. Like in Proverbs 28:7 and Psalms 41 somewhere, and Proverbs 19:7, I think, all three tell you that those that consider the needs of the poor, they shall never lack anything. And God will never let them suffer or go hungry. So that's like a law. It's a spiritual law. Kevin Elliott Ewing, he teaches it very well. All these laws. It's more than do this, don't do that. It's do this, and then this will happen for you down the road. Another example is the power of our words. Proverbs 18:21 says that the power of life and death is in the tongue. It resides in the tongue. And those that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Which means that if you use your words wisely, you'll reap a benefit or a curse. Basically, it's telling us to be very careful with our words. It doesn't really explain why in that chapter, but there's plenty of places in the Bible that show you this law being activated. Basically, if you say the wrong things, you're inviting the wrong things to happen to you. I don't know if you've heard of it, the law of attraction.
Right.
That's actually biblical. I don't know how they teach it, but I'm pretty sure they teach most of it correct. Basically, your words, they're like an agreement with spirits. So when you say stuff, like if someone says that they will fail, they're more than likely going to fail because they've agreed with failing. And the whole kingdom of evil, the demons and stuff, they want us to fail. So if someone speaks death into their life, they're going to reap that spiritual and physical death, failure and sickness and disease and poorness. What's it called? Poverty. We have to learn to use our words wisely. It's another spiritual law, along with giving to the poor. Another one is being humble and meek. That's a spiritual law. It says that God gives grace to the humble, the meek, and the...
What's meek? What's meek?
Meek means to be like lowly of spirit, it's called as well in the Bible. Like to be sad, actually, is one of the definitions. In James, it tells us to be to turn our joy into sorrow, to turn our laughter into sorrow. Sorrow means like sadness, sorrowful, means to be sad, and then to turn our joy into our laughter into sorrow and our joy into mourning. Mourning means like what people do at a funeral, like they're mourning the dead. Like we're supposed to have a mournful spirit because of the sinful world we're living in, and because of the sins we've done, the sins other people are doing, the fact that Satan rules this world right now. That's supposed to make us sad. And when we do the right thing, it gives us glimmers or sparks of joy. It's usually like momentary though, like my mentor Stephen told me. recently. Like we're in a hard battle, and it's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy. There's definitely a battle out there and inside the mind.
Yeah,
There's a battle inside the mind, and they want your mind. I feel like
that's right. It's all
they're
they
doing
want.
everything that
They don't
yeah
want your money. They already own the whole world. They own everything.
right
It's not about money.
right
So many people, they're like, oh yeah, the Illuminati, yeah. It's about money. No, it's not about money. It's about our souls.
right. Money is just they just put it out there. They just when they print it and they just put it everywhere, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
Right, John.
You know,
We will talk soon, John. But Nathan
guys,
and I,
thank you so
we
much.
must be going. I'm gonna send you
Thank
one more channel. I don't think I've done it already. It's the channel of a man that mentored me when I was 16. From the age of 16 to 22, this man, like an angel type of intervention in my life, really helped me. Many of the things he taught me are sprouting up in me now, like 15 years later. A lot of things I'm finally learning. I want you to listen to his channel. It's really interesting.
Okay.
You'll hear a lot of my inspiration in this man. Like I'm like
Okay.
40% him, like 20% someone else, and 30% someone else, and 10% me. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Please send it to me. When we leave this chat, am I going to lose the entire chat box, or will it still be there?
No, you'll lose that.
Yeah, so screenshot it.
Screenshot it.
Okay.
I'll send you the channel again.
Okay.
Whatever that is. Yeah, we'll send you an email right now. We have to go, John. We got to check out of here fully.
Okay, so
leave the property.
Hold on. Okay, let me screenshot it. I just screenshot it. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much for speaking with me, meeting me. It was a pleasure to meet with you guys. Thank you so much for everything, and I wish you guys all the best and everything. And if you guys ever need anything, email me.
We'll talk soon, John. We all just have to
Okay.
work on ourselves for now, and when the time comes, if it's God's will, we'll be together.
Okay.
Shalom.
Amen.
Shalom, John.
Thank you, guys.
Shalom.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye, Nathan. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. Awesome. That's good. Yes. May John be able to retain all of these seeds, and may the fruit he's already showing grow and grow and grow.
Yes.
Amen.